dogs to be able to use their noses and locate source, whether it be live or HRD, is just really unique. And it was just really good for the handlers. Many of these handlers have not been exposed to disaster training, so they also learned a lot, I hope.
You did a lot, Sarah.
So she and I kind of specialize on doing things in the woods. It's the closest we've ever done to a real disaster. It gives us a lot of little things to think about and work on. The amount of sheet metal screws that you see once you're out there in the broken glass, it's just not something that I thought about when we were getting ready for this training.
For Bonnie and Sarah and the other trainees, working through the rubble and concrete strengthened skills and the bond between canine and handler.
I love working with the dogs because they have so many senses that we don't have, and they're willing to share those with us and partner with us. And so it's really an honor.
Now, today was just one of the trainings. A night search is also planned for tonight, and that one will take place in the woods. Galen?
Talk about hands-on training. Christelle Kumwe, live in the newsroom for us. Thank you, Christelle. Well, there is a new Oregon law in effect this new year. It requires death reports to note if people were homeless when they died. Multnomah County has been doing this for 10 years, and now other counties have to as well. Lincoln County on the coast will take note of the death of Walter Herbert. Walter died outside on January 5th in Lincoln City after leaving a warming shelter that closed once temperatures got above 40 degrees. Walter spent most of his time in Newport, where he was well known by many in the community. He was a fisherman, but had life struggles that made him homeless, according to the nonprofit Grace Winds Haven. It's a homeless aid organization in Newport. And Tracy Flowers is the executive director, who says many people will miss Walter.
I couldn't believe the response that we got. Hundreds of people between my personal page and my business page. Just talking about memories of Walter, being an artist, being a friend to everybody, sharing a meal with him, sharing a cup of coffee with him, hearing his jokes, and just the love and compassion that this man had.
A wide impact there. Now, Flowers says the homeless crisis is real on the coast, with dozens of people needing help to survive. Walter Herbert leaves behind a brother, other family members, and friends. And a new survey by the Oregon Values and Belief Center shows 70% of Oregonians think it's important or urgent for community leaders to make homelessness their #1 priority. That's up 20 points from 2020. The largest jump was seen for the urgent rating, which increased from 22% to 39% in 1 year.
People are really concerned and, see it as an increasing problem and feel like even though some steps are being taken to try to address it, it's not really making progress. Things are getting worse rather than better, and people are pretty worried.
The survey also found just 12% of Oregonians are somewhat or very satisfied with homelessness services in their area. 67% of those polled were not very or not at all satisfied with current services, and that includes 82% of people living in Multnomah County. Education leaders in Oregon expect more schools to go remote in the next few weeks. This past week, 2 schools in Portland switched when too many teachers and students became sick with COVID. Today, Roosevelt High School announced it will switch to remote learning as well. And it turns out there's just not enough subs to keep kids in class. KGW's Alma McCarty looks ahead.
Portland public school leaders explained there are several data points they look at when determining whether a school needs to pivot to remote instruction. The number of positive cases among students and staff, the number in quarantine, the staffing vacancies, and whether there are enough substitutes to step in. Staffing is the key factor.
We consider the closure of our schools to in-person learning and activities to be a measure of last resort.
The district stressed all of this is constantly evolving, but this was the snapshot PPS shared Friday. 754 students isolated due to COVID, 526 more in quarantine due to off-site exposure, compared with only 5 students quarantining due to an exposure on campus. As far as staff, 169 are in isolation, 58 quarantining after outside exposure, and 2 after an on-site exposure. More than 400 subs were requested district-wide, but only 60% of those requests were filled.
I don't think anybody in the broader community is going to be surprised that unless the conditions improve, and we can guarantee consistency of staffing, that there may be additional school communities where we need to transition temporarily to distance learning.
That's not only the case for PPS. State leaders say they're bracing for staffing challenges everywhere and the likelihood that more schools will go remote.
With short notice, families will need to figure out childcare and revisit online classes.
Oregon's Department of Education Director Colt Gill explained educators are doing all they can to stay in person. He's urging everyone, not just students or staff, to set aside COVID fatigue and re-emphasize COVID protocols.
Even with high community spread, consistently implementing these practices keeps COVID-19 from spreading in structured school environments. We've proven this, but we have to commit to it to ensure that this works with the incredibly contagious Omicron variant.
Alma McCarty reporting for us there. Now, other school districts like Beaverton have not made the call for closing classrooms. Instead, it's increasing safety measures, like requiring masks for kids in band and choir. It's also requiring kids to wear them outdoors, and it's pausing assemblies. Schools are not allowing visitors for right now, and the Test to Stay program is paused because of a staffing shortage. All right, we'll take a look at this video here. Clergy, teachers, healthcare workers, and protesters are raising their voices to support city and Portland workers as a potential trade strike looms. The District Council of Trade Unions has been working with the city on a new contract for its 1,200 city employees and 6 unions. Last month, it declared an impasse in that bargaining process, and now workers could strike as early as this month, and it would threaten the city's ability to provide services to people like you.
We absolutely have provided critical services to the city. We've continued to keep the city working throughout, a worldwide pandemic. You know, whether that's clean water, sewer systems, transportation, all of the many things that we do, we've continued to do. And it's time for City Council to realize the value of their workforce.
So here's the deal with the numbers here. The city is offering a 1.6% cost of living increase that would date back to the beginning of July last year. It's then offering a 5% cost of living raise that would begin July of this year. The union, though, argues those offers are not in line with national inflation, which increased by more than 6% over the last year.